Hello, friends. What a blessing to be here with you for another Spiritist magazine program at Kardec Radio. And tonight we have the most beautiful, concise message from Emmanuel. So if you are following us, if you watched us either on Facebook or YouTube, and you have the Spiritist magazine app, we are going to be talking about issue 56 of the magazine, which I am going to share. Oops, not this one. Issue 56. And the article for today is titled The Infallible. Right. By Emmanuel. Hopefully that will come through. So feel free to download that issue, to open it up and find it. And you might ask me, how do I download the app or the PDF, which I'm going to share with you? We're going to have an idea of what it looks like, because that's what I use to show you the articles for our discussion. That's also a way for us here at the Spiritist magazine to show you how easy it is to use the resources. Nothing fancy. You can visit spiritistmagazine.org. If you're new, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, listener, depending if you're on the podcast on SoundCloud or YouTube and Facebook, welcome. It's always an honor and a pleasure to be here with you today. In addition, you can write to us at spiritistmagazine@gmail.com. If you have a talent, if you have a desire to be part of the team, 100% volunteer-based team, from the editors to those who write the articles, the translators, the graphic designers, all of us work for the benefit of spreading the good news of the Christ in this world in the English language. Spiritistmagazine.org is where you can find all of the resources and go from there. Feel free to write to us with any questions. We can always help you as well. Issue 56, The Infallible Friend. As we are here living this transition period, remember, the spirits tell us in the Gospel according to Spiritism that we have 5 different types of planet didactically for you and I to study. We have primitive worlds. We've moved from primitive worlds. That's the natural evolution of planets as they're created, formed by the superior spirits, and they evolve materially in the physical realm and also spiritually with the spiritual realm and the beings that inhabit that planet. When we have the worlds of trials and expiations, this is where we are right now. We're in this planetary transition between trials and expiations and the worlds of regeneration. That's like everything in nature, it's a transition. It's slow and steady, and it's inviting you and I to reattune, just like if you're old enough to know what a radio is, when we didn't have digital, when we had the radio and you have to switch toggle and you hear the static and then finally you tune in your car radio to or your home radio to the wavelength of the stations in your area. So we are vibrational beings, and the goodness that vibrates within us that over time increases in relation to the things we still have to work on, then the vibratory attunement of the progress of the earth, we need to be in the same alignment, and so we can be allowed to stay, or perhaps we will choose to stagnate, and then the realignment needs to be within the place and the location in the universe that is better for our development. Remember, we are on the earth for a reason. These are the experiences you and I have to have During these planetary transitions, we observe so much. We observe war, pandemic, suffering from all kinds, from physical ailments, from the things that we are creating for ourselves in this life, redressing mistakes in the past, growing and loving. This is the ultimate goal: is to grow and love one another and see everybody as one humanity. To people who are orphans, people who are homeless, people who are suffering, people who have a lot but still have the suffering inside of them from the atrocities around us. And that's why the Spiritist magazine is so important, because these teachings teach the teachings of the superior spirits, as we find in the Spiritist magazine issues, bring to us this consolation, and also timeless, because if you go back and listen to what we were doing back in 2020, the messages are still relevant to today's time. So today we thought about bringing to you the idea of this friend. And who is this infallible friend? The friend that never fails to appear and show up when we need. Because when we have true friends, not just social media friends to catch up, but true friends, those you can call at 2 a.m. in an emergency. They show up for you. And that's what we're talking about: a greater, bigger, more encompassing friend. And we're going to see by Emmanuel who this friend is today. Feel free to leave your comments and questions. I'll reply to them as I can if I see them. But if you're shy and you don't want to say hi, that's okay. Make sure you share, you like, and subscribe so other folks can have access. It's not for our vanity, it's just so that the programs can know this is relevant content. All of the programs are Kardec created. Make sure you spread the good news, pass them along, be courageous to post so that we can be in the same attunement. And who knows, you may be saving a life that day. As I scroll past what's on my screen, I believe it's this way, where you can see the PDF version of the Spiritist magazine free of charge. You can also purchase the physical copy of the magazine. And I say purchase because to produce the physical copy, there's a cost, and the collaborator MacLeod charges you to make the physical copy. That money does not come to us at the Spiritist magazine. But if you prefer the physical copy, you want to have it a free study group at our Spiritist Center, that would be okay as well. So this is the cover, issue 56, which is the second to last issue. The current issue is 57 as I speak to you in May of 2022. You want to scroll down and you see the physics part of the magazine. And we've already talked a little bit about a couple of these issues. Here you have chapters of the book Good News that is translated but not yet in English. Another great resource as well when you have content that comes to you and I firsthand in English at the Spiritist magazine before it comes to fruition, the whole book comes to fruition. We've talked about Brilliant Humility before. We talked about Happy Heart before. You can see that my PDF is labeled. Talked about Earth as being a sanctuary of the Lord, amongst other things. And here today we're going to be talking about the infallible friend. So let me make it then I got frozen a little bit, but that's okay. All right. So who is this invaluable friend? First of all, this issue, this article from issue 56 is by the Spirit Emmanuel through the mediumship of Francisco Cândido Xavier. Our gratitude to both of them and to the many mediums and many spirits who have worked tirelessly to bring to you and I the teachings of Spiritism. And this was published in the book Passos da Vida, Steps of Life, by several authors. And there is a program card I created called Morning Prayer, where you can find these issues, all of the other chapters from this book. And you can find that on our platforms. A very short article for today, but that's okay. Emmanuel says, make it small so we can only talk about a couple of paragraphs at a time. He says, you have seen calamities that you have never expected, haven't we? Pandemic in our lifetime, unless you were alive in 1918 for the flu pandemic. This is for us our lifetime pandemic. We see things happening around our neighborhoods in terms of crime, in terms of healthcare crisis, climate crisis. We have suicide crisis, direct and indirect crisis. So there's so much going on around us. And Emmanuel says, you're seeing this around you. You have cultivated affections that have laid traps for you. People who we loved and cared for, people who were esteemed to us, and then they turned around and somehow we feel betrayed by them. Affection you planted produced contempt, but do not allow sadness to overwhelm you. And that's what a lot of us feel, isn't it? It's important that we be frank, to acknowledge, and that's something that perhaps will come out of this situation. Is we're going to teach the youth in schools and at home. The first education is at home. Emotional management. So if you feel sad, it's okay. If you feel fearful, it's okay. But he says, don't allow it to overwhelm you, because if we allow our feelings to overwhelm us, we may be paralyzed. But it is okay to feel the feeling. And that's why it's important to go back to this principle, question 919, about self-knowledge. The Spirit St. Augustine has a beautiful excerpt for that little dissertation, where every day you write down what you did and said and how you felt. Minute by minute, you can practice mindfulness exercises and techniques. So you know that you feel sad, that you know if you fearful, you know if you're happy, anger, so on and so forth. But if we don't name our emotions, remember thoughts, emotions, and then it will trigger actions. Perhaps we're even channeling, quote unquote, even feeling the feelings of others, incarnate and discarnate. And then now it will be harder for us to fully understand. Is it coming from me, or am I picking up other people and emotions as an emotional contagion? Then I feel paralyzed. I feel despondent. And now instead of resigning, this is where I am. This is where I've landed after millennia of reincarnations and errors and successes and learning and relationships. Then we feel despondent and we feel entitled to have joy and peace every day, even though we're not planting that in our daily lives. Where we land today, where we are today, is where God has allowed us to be for our own learning. Is what we did in the past, good or not as good, the love we cultivated, the immortal spiritual qualities we have, versus also speaking and accounting for all suffering we may have caused. All of that multiplied by the grace of God. So let's not allow sadness and despair to overwhelm us. Those are the words of Emmanuel. What to do instead, you ask me? He says, work, wait, and serve. Go back to the law of labor, the law of work in the Spirit's book. And work is any useful activity. Wait, Because when we work, we are planting the seeds of the future. Where you are today is what you planted in this lifetime and others many lifetimes ago. Maybe now we are ready to undergo something. If we plant joy, we'll collect joy in the future. When we are working towards the good, we wait for the fruits to come. And we remove ourselves from the instant gratification era that we are living. I want everything now. I want everything within 2 hours. I'm unable to wait. I'm angry all the time, and I don't even know what's going on. But that is the dopamine hit we get from the tools we've built that we need to learn to use. Just as we were young, we had to learn to speak, to talk, to walk. When we are older and we haven't had that emotional education, then we have to learn new tools. Beautiful. That's what's bringing you and I together, is the technology I have in front of me. I can use my microphone to spread the good news of the Christ through Spiritism. Or I can choose, and people do, to spread conspiracy theories, untruthful news, alternative news. Or I can choose to use my microphone to read an article from the Spiritist magazine, or to share a published scientific paper, or to broadcast an opportunity for volunteer. Or I can also share things that are not as useful in the grand scheme of things to improve the life of everybody. Emmanuel was saying, work, wait, and serve. We have to remove this idea, dear friends, that we are here to enjoy. Yes, we can enjoy. The law of labor also tells us that we need rest. But thinking that every single minute that I'm not working, I should be enjoying while there's so much suffering around us. Lacking of physical resources, literally lack of food, shelter, water, and medicine, to the lack of emotional connection. Work, wait, and serve. Don't give up the good. When we are doing this work together, it's hard. People are going to be like, why are you going to the center on Sunday mornings when you could be at the beach? Yeah, you could be at the beach on Saturday as well, or in the afternoon. But when we're nourishing our souls, when we're bringing the young ones with us, we're teaching them resilience, discipline, that they are more than the physical, that they are more than the joy they get at the playground. When they grow old, they have the resilience in them, the certainty that God is the infallible friend, that we can count on God, and that friend is God, the creator of all things, whose love sustains life on the universe, that provides you and I with the infinite amount of resources that we need in order to succeed, from our 24/7 spiritual personal assistant, personal coach, our mentors. One at least is assigned to us to be with us from the time we were granted the opportunity to reincarnate all the way to the time we're going to discarnate and beyond. From all of the resources of being able to connect through thought with all that is goodness in the universe. Thought is life. When we think of service, when we think of everything that I do in terms of serving others, that's the fallacy of self-care to a certain extent, because we can self-indulge. When I see my opportunity of using the tools I have to serve, the good spirits will connect. We connect when we think about, what can I say today that is useful to others? Then you have a problem with someone, you can tap in to their mentors and say, please, mentor of X, Y, and Z person, give me the tools, the words to say that will quench the fire in this relationship, the anger that is more useful. Or if that's not possible, give me the strength, the support, so I can zip it, that I can be quiet, because silence is also charity. So much we can do in order to do the good, counting on our friend God. Because in Spiritism, we know God is not this older gentleman sitting on a cloud. God is sustaining life and granting us this opportunity. We need to expand our awareness and knowledge and feelings to know I am here today. God has granted me this opportunity. God has divine providence. Go to chapter 3 of Genesis, the Genesis book by Allan Kardec. There he says, the divine providence is God's resources abound in the universe. God is constantly sending his love and kindness and resources. God is not going to materialize in front of you, but if he does, let us know. What God's going to do is he watch our actions, our intentions, our thoughts, and then send helpers. The same way you can be the helper to someone. And that person, you can, if you have the mindset of service, then you may have an idea, oh, I'm missing friend so and so. Then you send a message or you call, and perhaps that friend is suffering, and then you are called to support. In the same way that if we need help, we need to be humble to know that help is there, and we can ask for help, not just in the spiritual sense of the word, but also in the physical. If I have a broken bone, I can wish my bone to be healed as much as I want, and I should wish, and I should pray, and I should visualize the healing. But let's not be naive that I'm going to be home bandaging my own hand and expect it to work well again. I go to a hand surgeon to fix my broken bone. So there's a place in a multidimensional being for multimodalities, multimodal help, from emotional help from friends and family, for psychotherapy help, to medical help, to spiritual help. And God is granting all of it. God is granting us the medicine of the earth. So take the medicine if you need. God is granting us the power of prayer. Join in prayer. Not only a Kardec Radio, there's 2 times a day prayer. Here in the Spirit Society of Richmond, we publish prayers every morning. I have a whole playlist, at least almost every morning. So let's join in that. Let's go to the Spiritist Center. Let's feed the homeless. Let's serve. Let's teach the youth that they matter, but not by making them 1,000% of the time everything that they want, but bringing them in and showing we have so much. We're so much blessed to have you in this lifetime. Now we have so much. We give to others. We take them to volunteer. We take them to the centers, to the spiritual education for children. So much we can do with our friend God. And as a reminder, make it bigger so people don't think this is from the book Steps of Life. There is a playlist on Kardec Radio where you can go and you can download the episodes. It should be in SoundCloud as well. If you have any issues finding it, just let us know and we'll help you get to those resources as well. And talking about resources, talking about friendship and love and kindness, please stick around. The Spiritist Magazine program is live with you every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But after I'm done, at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Divine Laws with our dearest, most loving Carol Correa. Dr. Carol Correa has a program where she systematically discusses the laws, the divine laws as explained to us by Allan Kardec in the Spirit's book, 3rd part of the Spirit's book. So stick around, enjoy the loving companionship and knowledge from our dear friend Carol Correa and all of the other hosts at Kardec Radio. Dear friend, I wish you a wonderful week. And God willing, I'll be back with you next week with another Spiritist magazine program here at Kardec Radio. Have a blessed day, a blessed night, a blessed evening. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.